Alright, what's up guys? In today's video, we're talking about the UZI SMG. I think this is one of the most underrated guns in the game right now. There's a few reasons why it's amazing. Number one, it has the best mobility out of every SMG. The fastest movement speed, fastest ADS speed, and the fastest strafe speed. So it has first place in all three of the categories that matter. And one of the best things about it, in my opinion, is the overall accuracy. Due to the fact that it has a low fire rate, the recoil pattern is amazing. In my opinion, it's better than every other SMG besides maybe the MP7. So today's video, we're going to take a look at the best class setup. Going to be comparing it to the MV5 and then take a look at a couple of the unique attachments which this gun has, because it does have some long barrels, which you guys will be able to see right now. So the one reason I think this gun is on the same level as the MP5 is you can add long barrels to it, which 100% help increase that range, which the MP5 can't. It also has a ammo that adds more damage and range, which will stack with that long barrel, which in my opinion is what makes it better than the MP5. So for the best class setup, obviously you guys know in Warzone I start every class setup with monolith suppressor. The barrel is the factory carbine. The difference between these two is so minimal you won't notice it. Obviously, if you look at the stat bar card, you probably think, oh, it's crazy. The factory carbine has a little bit better recoil pattern and obviously a little bit worse mobility, but to get a better accuracy is what we're going for with this class setup because it's where it's best. With these AE rounds, obviously you're going to get more damage, more range. 100% recommend. It's where it's going to help make it better than the MP7. As far as the underbarrel, we'll go over that in just a minute, but they all are the same. The recoil pattern is a literal straight line, so by putting any recoil, that's recoil control, is going to make no difference. The Commando actually has the best recoil pattern, does have the worst movement and mobility. Like I said, this gun is the best for the mobility category, so by using the operator foregrip, the difference in the ADS between the three is no different. They're all identical, so the operator, in my opinion, is the best. It's going to help keep the UZI where it's best. Those are the main four attachments. Obviously, any roll attachment after that's really not going to make a big difference as far as your class up. Better no stock, I don't recommend. The biggest factor is it does have a very slow reload time, so similar to the MP5. I think sleight of hand's excellent. Does also have a slower ability to sprint to fire, so using stipple grip will also help. So for my fifth attachment, I'm probably going to be running stipple grip or sleight of hand. This is a gun you're going to be ADSing only with. You're not really going to be hip firing with like the MP5, so I don't recommend the 5mm laser, but stipple grip or sleight of hand is the best class setup. So we'll take a look at next is that time to kill versus the MP5, and basically comparing those two class setups and why I think this gun might be the best SMG to start using in Season 6. So what we're going to take a look at right now is obviously the MP5 versus the UZI. This is the UZI with the extra damage. So obviously the biggest factor, you guys know, the MP5 is the best SMG, but the UZI actually has a faster time to kill all the way up to 60 meters than the MP5 besides in that first base range. So for 50 out of the 60 meters, which is an insane number, over 80% of the time the UZI is going to kill faster. So the fact that the MP5 has 20% of the ranges where it kills faster is, in my opinion, where the UZI is going to be excellent. So like I said, with that barrel and those AE rounds, it's going to help increase that range by a lot. You guys can see the MP5 drops off to its like third damage at 30 meters, and this gun goes all up to 42 meters, so 50% more range until it drops off, which in my opinion is where it makes it excellent. So it holds that time to kill very, very well. So even if you aren't in a close range fight, I feel like a lot of times where people make mistakes is with the MP5, they are afraid to shoot because they know it's not going to do as much damage, and that is, in my opinion, where the UZI excels. I know I'm the exact same way. If I'm above like that 20 meters, I'm afraid to shoot because I know my MP5 is going to be shooting marshmallows. But with that UZI, it will maintain the time to kill. It's probably going to be better than your AR because the damage is so high. So that's where it competes. In my opinion, that's where it's excellent. The biggest factor I'll showcase on the screen, you guys will see right here. In my opinion, it has 100% better accuracy. Like I said, it's purely vertical. Even running the AE rounds, it adds to the recoil, but only makes the recoil go a little bit higher. So in my opinion, it has a better accuracy, it has better range, has better damage, and 80% of the time it has a better time to kill. So it might be better in mine. Like I said, it starts out better in the mobility category. So if you put the right class setup on there, like I said, even with that long barrel, it's going to negate that. It's not as bad. You stack with the operator, it's going to help keep it excellent in my opinion. So I personally am going to start using the UZI over the MP5 because I think it beats it in a lot of the categories. Mobility, range, damage, and time to kill. and the recoil is better. So in the 5 categories that matter most, I think it's better. As far as taking a look at those AE rounds where it actually matters, what they actually do, we're going to take a look at that right now. So I want you guys to comment down below, MP5 or UZI, after seeing this data, which gun do you guys prefer? So where you take a look at right now is the difference between the AE rounds and the regular UZI. The regular UZI is going to be on the left over here, and this one here is going to be with the AE rounds. Like I said, it adds more recoil, which I'll showcase on the screen again in case you guys didn't see. Fire rate's the same. The biggest factor you'll see with the base UZI, it does the same damage to the chest and the stomachs and has a lower damage to the limbs. The damage profile changed completely. It does more damage to the chest, but the same to the stomach and limbs, which in my opinion might help a little bit, because if you're shooting the stomach and the limbs, it still has a good damage. Obviously, like I said, it gets an increase in range. So you can see your base range goes from 15 to 17 meters. Your second range goes from 24 to 30, and then the third range is still pretty average, but your max range goes from 36 to 44 meters, which helps, in my opinion, to bring that damage, that time to kill up a little bit higher. The biggest factor you'll see is the headshots is significantly different. So you take that second damage range, you're doing the same damage as you are at the base range, which in my opinion is a bigger factor. So you have the base damage, which 100% increases your time to kill, because when you add a barrel on there, your range is extended. So you get a whole different range, which gives you a lot more damage. In my opinion, it's excellent. Obviously, it doesn't do as much to the head, which with a gun that has a very good recoil, it's pretty easy to shoot in the head. But that's where, to me, the biggest factor is. So, like I said, it does add more recoil, but due to the fact that it's recoil control and not recoil stabilization, does make your recoil worse left to right. It 100% is worth using. So all you have to do is pull down on the joystick and you have no recoil. So that's for the AE rounds. As far as about what is the best grip, we'll talk about that right now. I'll showcase some gameplay for you guys, so you guys can actually see how good it is in game. The best grip, I'm going to state it simply before I even start it. This gun has no recoil. So any grip you add, you're going to be looking at that second factor, which is obviously the hip fire for the Merc. The Ranger is going to be obviously the stability, and the Operator is going to be the mobility. And the Commando, like I said, has the best recoil, but it has the worst mobility, which is going to affect the UZI more and take it to a place where you don't want to take it, in my opinion, which is why I stopped recommending the Commando. So for me personally, it's personal preference, but I prefer the Operator. So let's talk about the stats right now. All right, so the best grip for this gun is very, very simple. Like I said, it has the easiest recoil to control. So there's really going to be no difference between the Operator, the Ranger, and the Merc as far as how bad your vertical recoil is improved or changed. The biggest factor, once again, also with those 3 grips, is they have the same aim down sight time loss at 8 milliseconds. So there's no difference to your mobility. The biggest factor, like I said, with the Merc, you get improved hip fire, which, like I said, with this gun, you're not ever really going to be hip firing. It has the best recoil, so you're better off using it in the ADS category. So the Merc, to me, is going to be ranked in last due to that reason. The Ranger is going to improve your recoil, obviously, along with your stability, which is going to help your first shot accuracy. You also get a loss in movement speed and a loss in strafe speed. The loss in strafe speed is only at 6%, which the Commando is at 14%. So it actually has less than 50% better strafe speed, which in my opinion is where it makes it excellent. So I'm going to rank the Ranger as number 2. The reason I'm going to rank the Operator as number 1 is it doesn't have a loss in movement speed, doesn't have a loss in strafe speed, and has the same loss in ADS and has the same recoil pattern as the other 2 in exchange to keep the gun best in the mobility category. So when you're playing those MP5 users, you're going to have a faster ADS, faster strafe speed, and a faster movement speed in the close range, which in my opinion, we're trying to keep this gun better than the MP5. I think the Operator is going to do best for that. It's going to be ranked as my number 1 grip to use due to the fact that it has the best mobility. As far as the Commando, it 100% had the best recoil pattern, but you get the worst movement speed, you get the worst strafe speed, and that strafe speed, in my opinion, is where the UZI is best. So by taking that strafe speed and lowering it down to be the worst now, in my opinion, is going to do the worst you can to the UZI class. It might have the best recoil, but when you're using an Operator with a long barrel, you're still going to have an excellent recoil pattern. So I don't recommend the Commando at all. So either the Ranger or Operator, in my opinion, is going to be the best for it. So that's pretty much it for the grips. I haven't really had enough video where it was this simple and easy, but the UZI is an amazing weapon. And the only last thing to talk about for the UZI is basically the difference with or without no stock. A lot of you guys know the MP5, the MP7, a lot of players use no stock. it's actually terrible for the UZI. I uploaded my last video on no stock talking about how good it was and if it's worth using. It's actually the worst for the UZI because the UZI has the best mobility, and by making your movement speed better, which actually had the worst improvement out of every gun in the game, it also makes your recoil worse, which like I said, the UZI is probably the best for it. And as far as your improvement on your aim down sight time, it had the worst improvement on that. So it doesn't improve your gun as good as some of the other guns. So it doesn't help as much, and it makes the gun worse where it's best. So basically it has the two things that don't help the gun at all. Definitely don't help your class setup. So I 100% recommend avoiding no stock. But that's pretty much it for the video. Hopefully it helps you guys build a better class setup for the UZI. Hopefully you guys start trying to use it, because after me researching it, I realized this gun's an amazing SMG. It might be better than the MP5, so hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys leave a like, a comment, and subscribe if you guys are new. And if you guys have not yet, use my discount code on all of your SCUF and GFUEL purchases. Code Trapgod, the best and only code to use. If you guys want to come follow my live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/Trapgod. Come follow the stream. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll talk to you in the next one.